Yo, what is up? So in this tutorial, we're gonna go ahead and start setting up our dial puzzle thing that we're gonna be doing. This will be the first puzzle that we do. But basically, what we're gonna break it into two different videos. And what we're gonna be doing in this one is we're gonna set up our blueprint for the dial. You can come up and interact, and it'll blend to it. And we'll set up the ability to switch between the different sections of the dial. And yeah, that'll be pretty much what we do. And in the next part, we'll actually set up rotating the picture in the center to align it. And when that picture aligns, it'll make this door open. And yeah, it's pretty much the gist. So let's hop into it. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to go into our first person folder, go into our models, and we're going to bring in our dial. If you want the model for this, you can grab it. I'll leave a link in the description. But yeah, we're going to go in our first person models folder. We're going to make a new folder in here called dial. Open this guy up, and I'm going to go find my dial. Let's see. Inside, outside, poles. Pretty sure that's all I need. Let me import this. Yeah, so this is all the pieces to the dial. I made it pretty big, so I'm just gonna scale this down by like 0.5, make it a bit smaller. And we'll just go ahead and bring it over here to this room. And kind of position it over this way, so because we're gonna need to adjust the room size as well. So let's see, I'm going to pull a light over this way so we can see a bit. Alright, so let's go ahead and make our materials for this. So there are some textures that I need to bring in, so let me bring those in. Where are they at? Right here. So yeah, need to bring in all of these textures. And we're just gonna open these, and we need to, change some things in here. I'm gonna set compression to mass. And set this texture size to 1024. And I'm gonna go into the base color right here. Set this guy to 2048. Save it, close it. Go into the MSE here. We'll set this to 1024. Set compression settings to mass. Save it, close it. Go into the normal, and I'm gonna set this guy. This doesn't really have anything going on, so I'm gonna set it down to like 512. Save that, close it. Go into this ARH. We're gonna set this guy to 1024. Set this guy to mass. Save it, close it. And let me just double check. Okay, cool. Alright, we'll go into our base color here. Set this guy to 2048. Save it, close it. Go into the MSE. Set this guy to 1024. Set the compression to mass. Save that, close it. Open up the normal. There's not a lot going on in this normal either, but I'm gonna set it at the 1024. Save that and close it. And now let's go into our first person materials. And let me just throw these in the material instance here. Material instance folder. Alright, I'm going to right click on our master here. I'm going to create material instance, and I'm going to call this mi_dial outside. And then I'm going to duplicate this guy, and I'm going to call it mi_dial inside. And I'm going to duplicate it one more time for mi_dial poles. And I'm just gonna highlight all of these, and I'm gonna bring it into our dial folder right here. And let's go ahead and start setting up these materials. Let's do the outside first. Open this guy, and I'm gonna use MSE and use ARH. Tick both of those on. I'm gonna tick all the maps here. And let's find our textures. So we're gonna set the base color to the outside base color. And the outside normal to the normal. And the outside MSE to the MSE. And the outside ARH to the ARH. Cool. Let's go ahead and throw this material. This material only goes on this outer part. And the rest of it will go on the inside of it. So I'm going to open that guy back up because it needs a metallic. We'll set the metallic intensity to 1. Save that guy. Close it. Alright, now let's do the dial inside. Open this material. I'm going to tick use ARH and use MSE. I'm going to tick these right here. And I'm going to throw in our dial inside, a base color in, the normal, the ARH, and the MSE. Cool. And I'm going to set this material, I'm just going to highlight all the other pieces here. So everything except the, we don't need the poles, and we don't need the outside. And I'm just going to throw on the inside material over here. And it looks like we missed one, so I'm going to throw that guy right there. And we get that. And now we need a material for our pole. So let me see. I don't think I have any metal. Yeah, I don't. So I'm just going to right click, go to Fab. And Fab is broken. Wonderful. Okay, so let's search for Quixel. Let's go to creators, Quixel, materials and textures, and I'm just gonna search for metal. Try to find like a brushed steel or something. Let's see. I'm just gonna search steel. Oxidized steel, scratched metal, let's see. Let me just search brushed. Brushed metal. I don't think any of these are what I need. Let's see what this brushed metal is. Let's add it to project. I don't think this is gonna give me the files that I need yet. Not. Let's see. Do they not have the regular metal stuff on here? Let me see. Metal. Okay, looks like they don't have those the metals that they used to have on there, so the files that they give us now are these textures, which is an MR, which should be okay, but we may need to change some things on our material. Alright, so what we're gonna do, since Megascans just wants to give us this, this kind of a texture, that isn't exactly perfect for the way my master material is set up. We're just gonna make a quick new material to kind of deal with this. So I'm gonna go in my first person folder, materials. I'm gonna right click and I'm gonna make a material and I'm gonna call this M underscore Quixel metals. I'm gonna open this guy up and I'm just gonna shrink this down a little bit. I'm going into Fab, Megascan, Surfaces, Brushed Metal right here. I'm going to pull in this map. And let's see. So the R of this channel is a M. which is metallic. So we're gonna pull this guy in, and we're gonna set this on metallic. And then the G channel here is the roughness, so we're just gonna set that into roughness. But we're also gonna make a few parameters here, so we can, you know, edit some things about it. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click a V on my keyboard and click, and I'm gonna call this color. And I'm gonna make the color of this initially white, and plug this into base color. And then off of our R channel here, I'm going to press S on my keyboard and click, and I'm gonna call this metallic. Metallic. Why is my M not working? There we go. Metallic intensity. There we go. And I'm gonna press M on my keyboard and click to get a multiply. Plug that in. Plug this into the R channel. And we're going to plug this into a metallic here. And then same for roughness. I'm just going to duplicate all of this right here. And instead of metallic intensity, this is going to be roughness intensity. Plug the G channel into this A of this multiply. Plug this into roughness. And just to get a quick material that we can mess around with, we're just going to do that. And also, we can make this a parameter as well. So, click on the texture sample here. And we are going to convert to parameter. And we're just going to name this guy to MR. And apply. And save. And that's all we're going to do in here for now. So, let's go back to our materials folder. First person, materials. M underscore Quixel materials. I'm going to create a material instance. I'm going to call this MI underscore dial poles. So this guy on our poles here. I'm going to open this material. And on the color here, I'm just going to try to match this color. Metallic intensity, I'm going to set this to 1. Roughness, we can get something kind of in that range. Get something you're kind of satisfied with. Metallic, yeah, it just goes between 0 and 1. And just kind of try to get something somewhat close. It doesn't have to be perfect. Quixel not having the damn other options they used to have is pretty frustrating. Alright, so now all we want to do is we're going to kind of get our room set up to fit this guy in here. So I'm going to highlight all of these dial pieces, and I'm just going to kind of move it up. And I'm going to move it over. I'm going to go unlit so I can see where it reaches the wall here. And just kind of get it into the wall there. I'm going to move the ceiling up a bit here. Actually, we need a new ceiling piece. So, change the X of this guy to 15, maybe 12. 12 looks good. So let's just duplicate this guy over till it covers this part of the ceiling. And I'm going to move it up until it's not, you know, clipping that guy right there. And all the wall pieces right here, I'm just gonna move them all up. Set the X, except this guy right there. Set the X of everything to, let's say, 12. Oh god. Before you do that though, be sure to not have the lockbox here ticked. I'm gonna set that guy to... What? For some reason that's changing the... Let's just try the Y. Oh no, not the X. Let's do the Z. Set the Z to 8. I don't know why I was doing X. Alright, so all we're going to do is we're going to set the Z here to, let's say 6. That should be enough for now. And on this guy, we're going to set this Z to 3. That should be fine for now. And let's go back to lit. And that's looking okay. And I'm just going to duplicate one of these walls here. And I'm going to rotate it around 90 degrees. Move this guy back till it's covering the wall. I'm going to change the Y or the X to be like 12-ish. Yeah, that should be fine. It needs to come over though, so it's not clipping. So let's move this guy back till it fits our pole. About right there. I'm going to grab this guy and this guy. I'm going to set the X of these to be, let's try 26. Like that. Also the ceiling right here can be longer. So let's set that to 14. Also the floor here, let's set that to 14. And that should be good for the time being. Alright, so let's just kind of test how that's looking. Come in here. And looks fine for now. Alright, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and make our blueprint for this. So, I'm just going to do a save all. Let's go to our first person blueprints, items, base item right here. I'm going to right click, create child blueprint class. This is going to be BP_dial puzzle. And we're going to open this guy. And we'll just do a save. Let's go to our first person folder and add it to our data table. So open the data table here. I'm going to add, I'm going to click F2 and name this dial puzzle. And item class is going to be BP dial puzzle. Mesh is going to be our, we'll set this, our outside piece as the mesh by default. So just click on that guy and then hit the back arrow here to set it. I'm also going to open this guy up and grab that material and set that material on here. We also definitely want to enable nanite on this because this is pretty high poly. So do that. Save it. Close it. Item type. This is going to be a puzzle item. And the rest of this, we could just name this dial puzzle. And the rest of it's not really important, so just gonna close that. And then on our BP dial puzzle, I'm gonna come up here to item name. And I'm gonna choose dial puzzle. And we're just gonna add a static mesh. This is gonna be, we're just gonna name this dial piece 1. And we're gonna find all of our pieces here. So let's try to figure out how these go. So the first one is gonna be dial inside cube 005, I believe. Cool. And then we're just gonna duplicate this dial piece 1. And the next piece is gonna be this dial inside cube 006, I believe. Did that go? There we go. Alright, then we're going to duplicate this guy. The next one is going to be our dial inside cube 002. So set that guy. We're going to duplicate this guy. And the next piece is going to be our dial piece 007. Set that guy. We're going to duplicate this guy one more time. And this dial piece is going to be our inside dial inside 008. And that should be good. And I'm just going to duplicate one more time for the poles. Duplicate. This is going to be dial poles. And this is going to be our poles. So we'll set that guy. Compile, save. And then we're just going to set all of our materials. So the poles, we're going to get our... let's just click on our pole here and search for the pole material. Set that guy there. And I'm going to click back on the dial right here. Click on this material. We're going to go to dial piece 5, set that material, dial piece 4, set that material, dial piece 3, set that material, dial piece 2, and set the material, dial piece 1, and set the material. And while we're at it, I'm just going to go ahead and rename these pieces. So this outside piece, we're going to rename this to dial outside piece. And then this little center one here, dial piece 3, we're going to rename this to dial middle piece. And then the center piece, dial 5, we're going to rename this to dial center piece. Cool. And that should be good for here. And then we're going to go up here to the top, and we need to add a camera so we can transition. So let's just add a camera. Kind of try to place this where we want it. So we can get rid of all the dial pieces we have in the world right now and bring in our dial puzzle blueprint. And I'm just going to go over here and take this lockbox, and I'm going to set the size to 0.5. Try to get it back to where it was. And just move it back a bit right here. Cool. So now, open this guy back up. I'm going to pull the camera out. And I'm just going to rotate this 90 degrees this way. And I'm just going to wait until the whole dial is in view there. Cool. So that should be good. So compile and save. So now, what we want to do is we want to change what we do when we interact with it. So we're going to go into our blueprint, and I'm going to double click the interact here. And what we're going to be doing here is pretty... Let me just go find my notes here. It's pretty similar to what we're doing for the keypad door. Let me find the reference here. So right here... Yeah, so I'm just going to actually find our keypad. And I'm just going to copy the code from there for what we do for interact, because it's really similar. There's a few things we got to change about it. So I'm just going to copy all of this, and I'm just going to paste it in. Saves us a little bit of time. You can delete the custom event. And I'm going to pull our interact in. Plug this guy in. And I'm also going to make another custom event here called reset interact. And I'm going to plug this into the reset here. Unplug your other stuff first. I'm just going to plug that guy in. Make it a little bit cleaner than the reroutes. Delete these reroutes here. And on the end here, we can go ahead and right click and call our reset interact. Plug these guys into here. I'm also going to change this delay duration to 0.5. Pull this guy back. Set current keypad. We don't need that. We can get rid of that. Screen numbers widget. We don't need that. We can get rid of that. Set input mode. We can get rid of that. Set show mouse cursor. We can get rid of all of this. Set input mode right here. We can get rid of that. Don't need any of that stuff. Let's see. Set movement mode we can keep. Play sound we can keep. Set visibility we can keep. And that should be good. Compile, save, and let me just look at my notes here for what else I changed. We have the flip-flop. We have the movement mode, set visibility. The play sound, we can leave that what it is for now. So I don't need this. Let's look at my next note here. Alright, so we're going to add a new boolean in our player character that takes if we're focused or not. Because there's a bug we're going to have. Actually, there's a bug we already have. If you haven't noticed it, I'll show you real quick. So if we go up to our keypad and we interact with it and we walk, we still get our footstep sounds. So we need to fix that. I also want to fix that print string. So let's go into our first person blueprint here. And I'm going to delete this print string right there. And we're going to add a new boolean in here. So add a variable. And this is going to be, we're going to call it is focused. So is focused. And what we're going to do here, while we're in our player blueprint, we're going to change when our footstep sounds can play. And that is going to be when we are not focused. So pull in our is focused. We're going to add a branch here. And just plug this guy in. And we want to come off the false here. If we are not focused, then we will play our footstep sounds. So compile that, save it. That's all we need to do in here. So close this guy out. And what we're going to do in our, we don't need keypad. Well, you can add it in keypad, but for now we're going to focus on this. So I'm just going to copy my player ref here and paste it. And I'm going to get is focused. I'm going to set is focused to be true right here. Plug this guy in. And I'm just going to copy and paste this and plug this in. I'm going to set it to be false right here. And I'm just going to plug these into the delay. And let me check my other notes. So something else we need is we're going to make a new enum. Let me just get rid of... let's see. Look at my notes. Still need that. So let's go ahead and let's go to first person blueprint enums. We're going to right click. We're going to go to blueprint enumeration. We're going to call this e underscore dial dial piece selected. And we're going to open this guy. We're going to add an enum. First one's going to be none. Next one is going to be outside piece. Next one is going to be middle piece. And the next one is going to be center piece. Cool. So we're just going to save that, close it. We're going to make a new component to kind of control a lot of our code that we're going to be doing in here, because we're going to be doing a mouse inputs to control where our selection is on the dial and how we're rotating it. So we're going to throw all that code in a component. So let's go to our blueprint folder, components. We're going to right click. We're going to make a blueprint class actor component. We're going to call this BPC underscore puzzles. And we're going to open this guy. We're going to add a variable, and this is going to be our dial piece selected. And this is going to be our dial piece dial piece selected. Compile, save that. That's all we're going to do in there for now. But let's go back to our first person blueprint, first person character. And we need to add that component to our player. So we're going to look for puzzles, BPC puzzles, compile, save. Cool. And so let's see what else we got to do. So we need to add this to our dial puzzle at the end here. Before we delay, we're going to change which dial piece we have selected. And the first one we're going to select is the outside piece, this outer ring at first. So let's grab our player ref, and then we're gonna pull off of here. We're gonna get BPC puzzles, and we're gonna set dial piece selected, and we're gonna set this to be our outside piece. Plug this guy in, and plug this guy into the delay, and then I'm just gonna duplicate it down here, because when we are no longer focusing on our dial, we want to set this guy back to none, like that. And let's see what else we got here. That should be it. Reset, other than our overlay material, which will be at the end, and our update dial, which will also be at the end. We can go ahead and add that. We're going to make a custom event down here called update dial. We're not going to do anything there yet, but let's just move these right here. And reset, we can leave reset right here. Actually, let's move reset. Okay, yeah, we can leave reset right here. I'll just duplicate it up here. Reset. And let's see. I'm actually gonna move where we're setting our enum to after the delay. So move this guy back, plug these guys in. Let's plug our delay back into these booleans. It's gonna move all of this stuff back. Like that. And let's see. So we need to set our overlay material, but that's not super important. Well, yeah, we can go ahead and do that. We go ahead and make our overlay material. So the material, basically the way it's going to work is it's going to outline the piece that you have selected, so you know which one you're controlling. So we're going to go make a material for that. So go to first person, materials, and we're going to right click and material. We're going to call this m_outline. And we're just going to open this guy up, and let me check my references here. This guy right here. So, first thing we're going to do is we're going to change this to be a masked and unlit. So, blend mode right here. We're going to change this to be masked. We're also going to change it to be unlit. And we're going to set it to be two-sided as well. And just save that. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to press V on our keyboard and click. And we're going to set this vector parameter to be our color. And by default, I'm just going to set this to be white. And the next thing is we're going to add an emissive intensity. So press S on your keyboard and click. We will call this emissive intensity. And we're going to multiply. Yeah, we're just going to multiply. This goes into the A, this goes into the B. Set the default value of the emissive intensity to 1. And then this will go into emissive color. Like that. And, alright, so the next thing we want to do is we want to get a two-sided sign. We're going to pull off of this guy and get a 1-. And plug this guy into the opacity mask. And the next thing we want to do is we're going to get our vertex normal world space and multiply this by a line thickness. So right click, we're going to get vertex normal world space right here. And we're just multiplying that by a line thickness, yeah. So press E on your keyboard to get a multiply. And we're going to press S on our keyboard to get a scalar parameter. And we're going to call this line thickness. And by default, I'm going to set this to 1. plug this guy in, plug this guy into our world position offset, like that, and apply and save. Close this guy. That's all we need to do in there. So if we right click on this and create a material instance and call this m underscore dial outline, and we can come in here and change our parameters. Emissive intensity, I'll set this to 5 for now. And if we come into our dial puzzle and just click on any piece, I'll click on this outside piece to kind of demonstrate. We go down to rendering advanced right here. We have this overlay material that we can set. So we're basically just going to be changing this overlay material out. So if we throw that guy on there, didn't seem to work, so let's figure out why. Compile. Let's see. Okay, so I had my line thickness to 20. That definitely helps. And I had my, let's see, emissive intensity to 5. Okay. So that definitely makes it more visible if we come in here and look now. Yeah, we can see it now. Yeah, I just had to bump that line thickness up a bit. So that should be good. Emissive, we can leave that at 20 for now. That works. Alright, so now let's clear that. We don't want that to have a overlay material by default. Make sure you don't have any. Because what we're gonna do is don't need any of that anymore. We want to update dial. We want to update our dial. So let me find my reference for that guy. Okay. So what we're gonna do is in our BPC puzzles, components BPC puzzles, we're gonna make an event dispatcher in here called update. Whoops. Rename that. Update dial. Compile. Save that. And let's see. BPC puzzle, update dial. Okay. So we're gonna grab our player ref and BPC puzzles here, and we're gonna update dial. Actually, let's not do that there. We will do something there, but not that. We're gonna go ahead and make our update dial function here. So we can just paste this in right here. Then we're gonna look for update dial, bind event to update dial. And we're gonna plug this guy in right here. And I'm just gonna duplicate this guy right here. And I'm gonna call this update dial bind. Like that. Plug this guy into the event there. And we're actually gonna call this update dial bind right here. So just right click, update dial bind. Plug this guy in. And we can get rid of that. And let's see. Don't need that yet. And then whenever we leave our interaction, we want to clear our we want to clear all of our overlay materials. So let's pull in our dial outside piece, our dial middle piece, and our dial center piece. We're gonna look for overlay, set overlay material. We want to set all of these to none because we're no longer focused in on setting the dial pieces. So whenever we leave interacting with it, we want to clear that. So that's what we'll do here. And compile, save, and that should be it for all we need to do on our interaction there. Yep. Alright, so next we'll do our update dial, but let me go ahead and clear out some of these screenshots I no longer need. Don't need that one. Don't need that one. We do still need that one. We don't need that one. We could go ahead and do this. We need to update dial on begin play. So up here on begin play, let's go ahead and update dial. So that way it binds our event dispatcher there. So let's delete that one. And this guy we will do in a bit. Don't need that guy. Okay, so this is the last two things we're going to do here. So we're going to update dial right here. So what we want to do is we want to get our BPC puzzles and we want to switch on our dial piece selected. So I'm going to I'm just going to copy this up here. And I'm going to get dial piece selected. And we're just going to pull off and we're going to switch. So plug this guy in right here. And I'm just going to come back up and also copy the set overlay material stuff because we're going to be doing some things right here. So if our outside piece is selected, we're going to plug this guy in and we want to unplug our middle and center piece. Leave this guy in, and we're going to duplicate our set overlay material right here. Plug this guy in and plug both of these into this, because that one will stay our cleared. Then on this guy, we're going to look for outline. MI dial outline. Cool. Then we're just going to duplicate both of these twice, because we're going to need it 3 times. I'm just going to plug this piece in, and should be all we need there. But we need to switch out our pieces here, so when our middle piece is selected, we want to have our middle piece with the overlay material. Just plug that guy in and just swap them around. And then when we have our centerpiece, we want to get our centerpiece with the overlay material. And that should be good there. So that should be working so far. So let's test that out. It should outline our outside piece when we interact with it. So let's see. We interact. Yeah, you can see the outside piece. Alright, well, we will tweak that here in a moment. Let's go ahead and finish off our in our BPC puzzles. We're gonna need this guy right here. So we're gonna change a few things depending on our mouse events. So we're gonna need a S keyboard event. So let me find our S key somewhere in here. S key. We're also gonna need a W keyboard event. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna get our dial piece selected, and we're gonna switch on E dial piece. And obviously you can you can set these as actual inputs, but for me, I'm just gonna choose the S and W key here. Alright, so what we want to do here is we want to change what is selected. So if our outside piece is selected, so if we press the S key and our outside piece is selected, we want to set this to be our middle piece. Like that. And then we'll duplicate that. And if our middle piece is selected, we want to set this to be our center piece for that one. Then we're going to call our update dial. Right? Yeah. Call update dial at the end here. And then I'm just going to duplicate this whole thing. Plug this into the pressed. And on W, if our centerpiece is selected, let's plug this guy in here. And plug this guy in here. If our centerpiece is selected, we want to set this to our middle piece. And right here, if our middle piece is selected, we want to set this to our outside piece. And then we're going to call this to, we're going to call update dial. So let's test if that is working. So that one is, and then it goes down, and then it goes down. Alright, so last thing we're going to do is I'm just going to add a sound for funsies. So at the end of our, let's see. At the end of this, I'm just going to play. Let's just play a sound on each one of these. So I'm going to play sound 2D. And I'm just going to go find a sound to play on here, which is going to be something in here. This sound right here. I'm going to choose this guy and plug that in, and we could see when I change these, should play the sound. And yeah, that's all we're gonna do for this one. So in the next one, we'll actually set up rotating these and making them align to the proper position. And when they do align to the proper position, we'll set up our door so that it'll animate up, and you'll be able to go through it. But yeah, we're gonna call it here for this one. If you liked the video, hit the like button. If you're new around here, definitely subscribe. If you have any questions, let me know those down in the comments. If you have any suggestions for tutorials you would like to see, also let me know those down in the comments. If you'd like to support the channel, we do have memberships on the channel. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.